All right, I wanted to wait on this because um, it's very easy in today's internet age to be able to create a document, a completely fictitious document, and make it look real and make it seem real. And that's what I was hoping the case was here. It's not the case. This first came to light about a week and a half ago, and at the time I was like, "Yeah, there's no way this is real. There's no way." No matter how extreme or crazy you think I might be, I'm actually very level-headed and very logical, and I look at all sides of everything before making a decision. And when this came out, I was like, "Yeah, there's no way this is real. There's not." I am talking about, and I want to get the title right here. It is FM 3TAC 39.40, the Internment and Resettlement Operations Manual from the U.S. Army. The problem I have now is that it's completely real. Public Affairs Director for Fort Leonard Wood, Miss Tiffany Wood, provided an official response, basically saying two things. One, no, this document is not intended for CONUS, the 50 states. CONUS is continental United States, and we got two more outside of that. It's not meant for United States, and that it wasn't meant for public view. Obviously, Tiffany, it wasn't. If you read the document yourself, and I'm going to have a link to the actual document, so you can read through it yourself just like I did. Yeah, it totally says that you can, that they can do this. U.S. territories, including, and here's really the kicker, and I want to get to the exacting things here. It basically says that the manual makes it clear that the policies also apply within U.S. territory under the auspices of the DHS and FEMA. As far as I know, FEMA can only operate in the United States. So there you go. That pretty much proves that this whole thing can happen here in the States, and I'm going to read excerpts from this. Re-education camps in America. How great. Document makes it clear that the policies apply within U.S. territory involve DoD support to the U.S. civilian authorities for domestic emergencies, for designated law enforcement and other activities, including man-made disasters. It says man-made disasters, accidents, terrorist attacks, and incidents in the U.S. and its territories. The manual states that these operations may be performed as domestic civil support operations, and adds that the authority to approve resettlement operations within U.S. territories would require a special exemption to the Posse Comitatus Act, which can be obtained via the President invoking his executive authority. The document also makes reference to identifying detainees using their Social Security number. Aside from enemy combatants and other classifications of detainees, the manual includes the designation of civilian internees, in other words, citizens who are detained for security reasons, for protection, or because he or she committed an offense against the detaining power. Once the detainees have been processed into the internment camp, the manual explains how they will be indoctrinated, with a particular focus on targeting political dissidents into expressing support for U.S. policies. The re-education process is the responsibility of the psychological operations officer, whose job it is to design PSYOP products that are designed to pacify and acclimate detainees to accept U.S. authority and regulations. The manual makes it clear that the policies also apply within U.S. territory under the auspices of the DHS and FEMA. The document adds that resettlement operations may require large groups of civilians to be quartered temporarily, less than 6 months, or semi-permanently, more than 6 months. Psychological warfare, people. Here in the United States against terrorists. And we heard that the war on terror was over. We got our guys, we're taking them to trial, right? We're trying to take them to trial, if you've been following that. Now the big deal is, what do we call them? Homegrown terrorists? That's what we call them. Government is now targeting, militias and everything else. Who do you think they're going to be targeting? Who do you think they're going to be putting in these fucking camps? People that don't go with the flow. People that don't agree with how the United States government is being run. I kind of remember that the way this country was founded was because there were a bunch of people that didn't like the way the country was being run. So they decided to become terrorists and take it over. Create their own country. I'm just saying, I believe, if I remember my history correctly, that's how the United States was formed. I could be wrong, but I believe that's how it was formed. Something about tyranny? Is that a word, maybe, that was used? I think so. The problem here is that people have been piecing this shit together for a while now. The FEMA camps. The same fucking place, and I want to get it right. Fort Leonard Wood. That's the same place where the first FEMA camps were leaked. People taking pictures and posting them saying, what the fuck is this? And news agencies doing huge investigative journalistic reports on these things because they look like fucking prisons. Look them up for yourself. These FEMA camps look like fucking prisons. And now this document comes out. It says, yep, we're going to use psychological warfare on our own citizens to make them like the U.S. government and how it's run. Here's the thing. Even if this manual was only meant for other countries, which it's not, if you read it yourself, I'm going to link it, read it yourself. It can be used on U.S. citizens in the fucking United States of America. Imprisoned. The NDAA, anybody? Even if it was meant for other countries, it's still bullshit. How the fuck would you like it if Japan or China or Russia or any other fucking country came here and threw you in a fucking camp and said, here's our psychological warfare against you so that you will like the Japanese government's way of life. You will like the Chinese government's way of life. You will like the Russian government's way of life. It's crap 10 ways till Tuesday, people. And it's fucking real. She just said the document is fucking real. It's not a fake. It's true. It's all fucking true. This is a week and a half ago. The new thing, and I'll post a link to this as well. U.S. military school taught soldiers to wage a total war against Islam. Lieutenant Colonel Matthew A. Dooley no longer lectures members of the armed forces at the Defense Department's Joint Forces Staff College, but he is still part of the school's facility, reports Wired. Is that not good enough for you? Wired magazine. This week the website reveals that the former instructor is under investigation by the military, but while he remains in the books, they have published material from recently uncovered training manuals that were once used in the decorated soldiers' military-mandated classes. Military-mandated classes, meaning you had to attend. According to the documents used in these lectures, Dooley demanded that the U.S. military must engage in total war against Islam in order to maintain security for America. 140 million people hate you and hate everything you stand for and will never coexist with you unless you submit. Your oath as a professional soldier forces you to pick a side. So basically he's saying, it's us or them, and we have to kill them all. And this was taught to our military leaders. Our military leaders were taught to hate Islam, to hate everything that it stands for, to kill every single person that is a part of Islam. I think you're going to see more and more documents released since this first manual was released a week and a half ago. I think you're going to see a lot more whistleblowers. I think you're going to see a lot more people willing to fucking be held in prison for a fucking year before they're even allowed a trial because they're doing the right thing and they knew it. I think you're going to see a lot more of that here in the next few months, over the next year. And I don't know where this country's going. We can take U.S. citizens and imprison them indefinitely without telling anybody and without allowing them proceedings in a court of law. And now we could take those people and throw them in a camp where we use psychological warfare on them to make them like the U.S. government. Does that seem right to you? Isn't it my right of free speech? Isn't it my right as an American citizen to not agree? I thought that was a right that I had. Tell me what you think. Rant over.